Hey everybody, it's your instructor Fett here, coming to you from Azalea Studios here in Nashville. I just wanted to do a really quick informal little video about accessing the course and also the live group Q&A calls using Ruzuku. So I'm just going to go through a little session here with my browser and explain what you need to do in case this is new to you and you haven't done it before. So first we're going to go to Ruzuku.com. Now I'm running this session in an incognito window in Google just so that it doesn't get confused about whether I'm a student or the instructor, because the screens are a little bit different. So that's why it suddenly looks a little different up here on the top of the screen. But suffice it to say, I'm just in an ordinary browser doing an ordinary session. So you're going to want to sign into Ruzuku using whatever ID that you created and your password when you first registered for the course on Ruzuku, and sign in. So what appears next is the list of courses that you have enrolled in, either with us, meaning me and Nancy under Azalea Music Group, or other people who teach on Ruzuku. They'll all be here in one place, and then you're going to want to access whichever course you're taking at the time. So in this case, for example, I'm going into Fett's Ninja Mastering, and several things appear. The first thing is over here on the left side, you've got a little description of the course and what have you and who we are. And on the right side, you've got the lessons that you're going to be taking in the class. And if this is a live instructor-led version of the course, you're going to notice that certain ones don't appear yet, and it says when they're going to be available to you next to the name of the course. All these little dots under here, by the way, are the different lessons within a module. And for example, right here, the welcome module has been already seen by me. I'll talk about that in a second. The Module 1 is available, as are all the different lessons under the module. And then Module 2 is coming up on November 18th, for example, in this particular video at this time. And as things become available, you'll notice that they turn red and you can access all the parts underneath them and so forth. So another thing you need to know is, depending on which course you're taking of mine and how long it is, as you go down the page, and there's a lot of different modules to follow, they're going to scroll up as they become available and you complete them. So you might come to this page and see that it starts with Module 5 or 7 or something like that up here. So don't worry, it's all still there. If you want to see everything in one list, you go to All Lessons, and then you can see the entire course, either what's available and or what's coming, on one page, and then click accordingly on a specific part. So again, this first part, once you get past a certain point, won't show up on that previous screen. It'll start numbering from a higher number as it runs out of room, basically. So that's how to get to the lessons. Now let's go into one here. Here's Module 1 about, in this case, a mastering overview session, and here's all the lessons within the module. Now, Ruzuku uses the term lesson and activity, but the way I refer to everything in the course content is module and lesson, but they mean the same thing. There are two levels, basically, of a particular topic and then all of the sub pieces of that topic underneath it. So we'll go to a particular one of the different sections that we've got available to us. Typically, I have a video in the module. Almost every one of them has that. And there's the first video there, which you can watch either directly on Ruzuku, or if for some weird reason your access to Ruzuku is acting up or you have a slow internet connection or something, you can always try the YouTube link directly to the exact same video. There's no difference whatsoever, and you can do all the usual stuff you do on YouTube, but you can also do full screen right here inside of Ruzuku as well. There's also some other content, and I can't say this enough, but if there is text underneath the video or whatever happens to be at the top as the main content in a particular lesson, please read the text, because a lot of times, as in this case, it'll have instructions about what to download first. And in this case, it says download Fett's Ninja Mastering Overview assignment.pdf. So it's asking you to download the assignment, read the assignment so you know what to do, and it will explain what to do with the following files that are under downloads below. So in this case, we want to download the PDF file that has the assignment in it, read that PDF file, and then come back and do other downloads as the lesson calls for, the assignment calls for. When you're done with a lesson, when you're done watching the video and done the downloads and what have you on Ruzuku, mark it as complete. So what happens is if you mark something as complete, I will see as the instructor that it's completed, but it will also show up in your lessons that you've completed it. Right there, it's marked in gray as opposed to white in this case. So you and I can both keep track of your progress through the different pieces of each module as you go through them. So that's the gist of how the lessons work, how to access them, and some other little things to know about them in Ruzuku. The next thing that I want to mention is the events. This is where we put all of our live group Q&A calls. And depending on which course you're taking from me, they'll either appear one at a time, say once a week, or they might all be laid out as they are in this case, and they'll have what date they're scheduled for, and not only the date, but also the day of the week if they happen to vary in a particular course, and sometimes they do. Some courses, they're all on Wednesdays at a certain time, or some courses, like in this example, a couple of them vary because of holidays and that kind of thing. But the titles all start out with live group Q&A call number, whatever it is, and it will say when it's scheduled for a particular day. After the call happens, this description will change and it won't say scheduled for anymore. And in parentheses, it will say MP3 or MP3 and slides available for download. So that happens after the calls take place. So here we are, for example, in the first event, which is a course kickoff call. And before an event happens, you will see this on the screen. So it tells you in the text below what's coming up and some instructions about what to do ahead of time in terms of sending me questions and that kind of thing. But up top, it will show you the call-in number, and this will vary, so please don't use the one on the screen right now as the one to use all the time, as well as your personal PIN. So I and every student in the class, in the course, gets their own private PIN on every call. So when they call in, Ruzuku's able to keep track of which connections are coming from which people and that kind of thing. So you can also add it to your calendar. You'll see that there's a bunch of options here if you want to automatically do that when you first get a notification about an upcoming call. And speaking of the notifications, sometimes I will send them out manually, but at a minimum, you'll get, I believe it's a 2-day warning or a notice rather that the event is coming, and then I believe it's either an hour or a half an hour before the event actually takes place. You'll get another little reminder message. But once the time arrives for the event to happen, this part here will change, and you'll actually see the event itself, the call itself. And I happen to use, for most of my courses, I use the Ruzuku webinar interface. Or telewebinar, teleconference interface where I'm showing you slides in this area on the screen. There will be a chat box on the right, and you'll see a list of people who are on the call. I can't show that right now because I'm not actually doing a call, but this is what happens initially. Then when the call starts, the screen changes to actually show the contents of the call, and when it's finished, I will release the recording of the call, the really good high-quality MP3 recording of the entire audio conversation, as well as the slides that I used during the call, if there were any, as a PDF file. So you can download that MP3, you can download that PDF file, and you can actually follow through as well online. You can stream the audio and manually go through the slides as I talk through them on the call, and I'll say from time to time during the call, we're on slide 17 right now for those of you who are following along after the fact, and that's because it allows you to control the order in which the slides happen, and you can go backwards and forwards regardless of what I did with the slides during the call. So it's kind of an extra convenience there. And at the bottom of the interface here will be, I believe it's the bottom, the downloads of the files from the particular the particular call that we had. So this changes over time depending on where we are in the life cycle of that particular event. And once it's over, again, it will say the MP3 recording and slides are available, and you can go to it anytime you want to access and download that information or just stream it directly from the internet. And then the next call that's scheduled will be there either ahead of time like these are, or certainly within a day or so of the previous call. So that's the events. I don't really use the discussions area in Ruzuku on the courses because Facebook is really, really well designed for forums. So those of you who are in the courses and have been signed up for our Facebook forum, our private forum, they're course specific. And they are private. So it's only for people who've taken that particular course on Facebook to get together and have interaction and sort of having an ongoing community. I think that works better than doing it here on Ruzuku. But speaking of community, you can also see who's enrolled in a given course. There will be various names, and some people do actually fill in their photo and their profile and stuff like that. So you can get an idea of who else is in the course. There's some information under notifications area from time to time. And there's also some settings and course preferences, basically, you can set up about how and when you want to receive information or not at all, if that's your bag. The one other thing I want to mention here is you can click on your name, whatever user ID you've created, and set up a little bit of profile information as well that goes with your global profile on Ruzuku. So that's pretty much the whole thing. I wanted to go through it rather quickly for you, just to give you an idea of how this interface works. But the folks at Ruzuku do a really, really good job with distance learning stuff. And so once you've tried this stuff one time through, it's pretty intuitive and pretty easy to use. So anyway, hope that's helpful, and I look forward to talking to you on the calls during the course if you're attending one of my live instructor-led scheduled versions. And if not, I certainly am looking forward to seeing you on the Facebook forum, and I wish you the best of luck going all through all the modules in the course, and I look forward to seeing you in class.